Hey guys, ECRG here, back with another video. We've got a viewer submitted question for you. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we've got a viewer submitted question, and you can see by the title of the video. This person is a vendor project manager, but they're trying to get into the clinical research aspect of the company they work for's business as a project manager. So they asked, what's the best way to go about doing that, either for their company or elsewhere? But they also have another wrinkle. They live in a place in Canada where there is not many clinical research jobs. So we're going to break that down for you one by one. So they've got two things working not in their favor here. One, they don't have clinical research experience. And two, they live in basically a clinical research job desert. So we've got two things here we're going to talk about, we got to fix. But before we do that, for any of those people that are new to clinical research or looking to get into clinical research, we have a resume review program. And this is really structured for you. If you're having a hard time getting into clinical research, you've applied to 50, 100 jobs, and you feel like you're not getting looked at by recruiters or hiring managers, it could be your resume. So we've got a clinical research resume review program. You email us your resume. We will review it. We will upgrade your resume. We will take it to the next level in order to get viewed by recruiters, by hiring managers. I guarantee it'll improve your chances. We have helped a number of people thus far. The feedback has been great. You can look at those videos. I show you how we go about doing it step by step. So I strongly recommend this for you. If you are new to clinical research, looking to get into clinical research, or even looking to make a change in clinical research, check out our resume review program. But back to this video. So this person says they're working as a project manager in a CRO. So that's good. They're already in a CRO. So they're already internally in a company, and that's the hardest part. A lot of people have the hardest time just even getting their foot in the door in a CRO. So you've got one thing working for you there. But they have no exposure to clinical research, no exposure to the clinical research world, and they mainly focus on client support. So they feel like it would be more realistic for them to try and get their foot in the door through project management. So this part's actually a little confusing. Do they want to be in the clinical side of clinical research, or do they want to stay in the project management side? So we'll go over both of that as well. And then they also talk about how they live in Vancouver. They live in Canada. There doesn't seem to be many opportunities there in Canada. All right, we'll go through that as well. All right, here's the deal. So you're in a CRO. That's great. But you're a project manager. So if you're applying externally, if you're a project manager in another field, whatever it may be, what other industry it may be, you could have the title project manager, but you're applying to get into clinical research. It ain't happening. There is zero chance you're going to get in as a project manager. Why? You have no clinical research experience, but you're going to say, I learn quickly. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. Doesn't matter. No sponsor is going to hire you. That's the thing in clinical research. It's not the CRO that is deciding these things. The sponsor has to sign off on you, and they want a project manager, especially a project manager. We just did a video yesterday or a couple days ago about the MVP of clinical research. So if you haven't seen that, pause this video, go watch that, then come back to this. But as a sneak peek, maybe it's the project manager, maybe it's not. But the project manager is very important to a clinical trial, so they want somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. So if you could be a project manager in anything, and they're not going to accept you into clinical research as a project manager because the project manager is too important to not have any experience. They're too vital. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go into a position that's underneath that. You're going to have to pay your dues just like anybody else. But the good thing you have working for you is that you already work for a CRO. So you do have CRO experience. It should be no problem. You do have transferable skills to the project manager. Believe it or not, there's actually a project manager, vendor manager role typically, or a project manager level 1 or something that does focus on vendor relations of the project while they are learning the other global project manager role. So that is good. You do have the client facing aspects to your job. But actually, we can help you reverse that into more clinical terms, because that's one of the things you have to do is translate your resume into clinical terms. We can do that for you if you submit your resume to the Clinical Research Resume Review Program. We can help you with that. But that's one of the things you've got to do. But the good thing is you're already in a CRO. So what I would recommend for you is apply internally at your company to a position. It could be an entry-level position or the position right under project manager. It could have the title project coordinator, project specialist, clinical trial assistant, whatever it's called. They have that position at your company, I promise you, because the project manager is nowhere near entry level. So they have a position there for you. You apply to that, you do that for a few years, and then you go into project management. You ascend the ladder if that's what you want to do, if you want to be a project manager in clinical research. Other than that, I mean, that's going to be my advice either way. If you want to get into clinical research, you're probably going to have to pay your dues in a entry level or semi-entry level clinical research role, because a sponsor is not going to accept you never having clinical research experience. It's just not going to happen. So that's my recommendation for you. Now, the second thing you don't have going for you is there are no opportunities in Vancouver. Now, it is exceptionally hard to get a 100% remote working job without clinical research experience. A lot of people that are 100% remote are going to be your project managers. They've been in the industry 4 or 5 years. They're going to be your CRAs. Once again, they've been in the industry a couple years. So they're going to be remote. They're going to be, people that have been in the industry and the clinical research side for a couple years at least. They're going to be 100% remote. So that's not going for you. So how are you going to do this? Like I said, try and get a job in your company. And I think that's the best thing, because if your CRO has jobs in Vancouver, they're probably going to be fine with you, or maybe even move you. They may relocate you at the company's expense because you worked there for a few years, you've got loyalty. They might just go ahead and relocate you. And that's what I would strongly recommend. Relocation, or if you can get a job at your company, you can stay put. But it's really hard getting into clinical research if you're not in one of these hotspots or in a place that has an office or something like that. So I think you have a real opportunity already being in a CRO and working in a CRO to try and see what opportunities they have for you to try and move over to the clinical research side. After you've done that and explored that, then you can leave and go on to bigger and better things elsewhere. But I definitely think that you have an advantage already working for a CRO, and you should definitely do that. Because, one of the things that people often don't realize is the CRO, it's not the CRO making all these stipulations for who can be a project manager or a CRA or whatever role you're thinking about in clinical research. It's the sponsor that decides all of this. They want experienced people on their trials to cut down on mistakes, to cut down on turnover, to cut down on, time it takes to do this, because they're spending money for every single hour that's worked on their project. Every single hour they're spending money. So they want people that know what the heck they're doing, that's going to cut down on errors, that's going to cut down on mistakes, and eventually, not cost them extra money. So that's really who was determining who can be what in the industry, not necessarily the CRO, because don't forget, the CRO is essentially a vendor for the sponsor. If sponsors decided they wanted to run their own clinical trials from now on, CROs would go out of business, most of them, except for a few of them that have other business models. But if you're strictly a CRO and all the sponsors decided tomorrow that they wanted to go in-house to run their own clinical trials, a lot of them would be out of business. So that's something to keep in mind. It's the sponsors that's deciding this. So let me see if you have anything else here. Yeah, so if you don't want to work for your same CRO, you're going to probably have to relocate. That's just what it is. That's just how it is. I know there are places. Toronto has a few CROs there that seem to have a pretty good clinical research base. I worked with people all over Canada. They do definitely have clinical research there. But again, these people that I know are remote. They're in the project manager and above level, so they can work from anywhere. It doesn't matter. Once you get to that level, they're a lot more relaxed on where you work from because most of those people are 100% remote anyway. But Canada definitely has some opportunity out there. You just got to look for it. There are some hot spots. And if you're really wanting to get into this field, you may have to move. But I definitely suggest looking into your own CRO, what programs they have for you to get into to the clinical research side. I think that's going to be a very strong starting point for you. And be sure, let us know how it goes. Comment down below. Let us know how it's going. And we can do another video like this on it to let you know if that works, to let us know if it works. So definitely recommend that. Don't hesitate to reach back out, you guys. And thank you guys for listening thus far. This is a great question. I'm really glad you asked it, and I hope it helps a lot of people. So email us eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com or comment down below if you have any questions you'd like to ask. Get my take on it. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget we have a podcast. Link is down below as well. Take care, guys.